They all work exactly the same. So basically you squeeze this, and that's what's going to release it so you can lower it down. And then they do all tell you where your front wheel needs to go. So your front wheel's going to go in the front here where the hook is. Perfect. And then the key to keeping your vehicle safe, or your bike safe, is pulling this all the way out and getting it as high up on your tire as you possibly can. And that's going to hold it. And it's going nowhere. So now a lot of people get on and they've got bags hanging off the back. They've got all kinds of things. They've got water bottles here. We do ask everybody to take everything off that they possibly can real quick and grab it and bring it in. You don't want, you know, things flying off while we're going 55 miles per hour up the highway. We've also run into issues, you know, the kids have the, I don't even know what they're called, but little foot type things sticking out here. And we did have a young lady, I drove for 5 years. She got on my big 35, 40-foot bus and put her bike on, and because of the things here, she hooked it right there. And her friends kept telling her, no, you got to tip it. It was like a dirt bike. Tip it, put it around. And they were all handling it, so I didn't even pay attention. And I went to make a big turn off of the highway onto Arnold Road in Oak Harbor, and her bike flew off and went straight under my bus. Because it was only hooked here, and it took off. So the key really is to get this handle way up there.
Okay.
Now, if you come up, you're the first one to put your bike on. It is always best to try and get it into the back slot. Then that next person coming up can throw theirs on the front and not have to try and maneuver around yours, because you can see how kind of cumbersome this might be to come up behind a bike. And it's much easier to remove one from behind somebody else's rather than put one up just because of the weight of it.
What would happen if I come up with my bike and it's full and there's no room on the bike rack?
If it's full, we've had a lot of controversy about this through the years. Many of us that believe in letting a bike come inside have talked to the other operators down off the ceiling who didn't believe in that. It is still up to driver's discretion, and it is up to kind of the circumstances of the time of day and so on and so forth, and how full the bus is. But if they pull up, they've got a couple bikes on the front, it's full, and you ask and the driver's okay with it, they'll let you bring it inside. They'll hook it down with, we've got bungee cords in all of the buses. What I used to do is I would bring it in and bring it right up to where most of them have the wheelchair lifts in them, and they've got kind of a graded base. I could hook the bungee cord in there, hook it right around the center of the bike, and hook it right back on, and it was fine. And I would usually preface it with, hey, if we get a wheelchair, I need you to jump up and unhook that while I'm jumping out to get, you know, my wheelchair rider or something like that. So there are circumstances, though, where the bus is super full. It's not safe to bring the bike on. You know, if we've got a 40-foot bus with 50 people on it already and there is nowhere to safely tie it down, you may have to leave the bike behind, or if you choose not to do that, you may not be able to ride. You may have to wait for the next bus. So, you know, you're kind of given choices. If you've got a chain or something and you feel comfortable locking it up at the bus stop, which some people do, they'll do that because they just need to get on that bus and they need to get to an appointment or work or so on and so forth. So there's options. They're not always the greatest, but they are what they are. The other thing is all the bigger buses have 3 slots on them instead of 2. And we noticed kind of an increase maybe 6-7 years ago of bike riders. And so we made sure all the newer buses that we ordered in had 3 slots instead of 2. So everything, as time's gone on, the newer ones that could accommodate a 3-slot one, all have them.
Great.
So.
Well, that was the only question I had.
Yeah. So everybody want to kind of try doing it. I know that sounds silly almost and juvenile, but it is a very weird feeling the first time you come up to a bus and you're in a hurry and you're thinking, oh my gosh, everybody's waiting for me, and you try to fumble through this process, because I've done it even, and you just, I know it sounds silly like you're a little kid, but it is a really weird feeling, you know. Bikes aren't super heavy, but they do feel very heavy when you suddenly feel like you're under the gun and people are waiting for you.
Somebody told me they had a hard time pulling these on.
There are newer ones, and you guys will see them, that have a kind of a yellow plastic end on them, and these actually are covered in yellow plastic, and they've got a button on them, and you have to push this button to release it and pull it out, and they are a little bit harder to do. I prefer the old style ones because they're just real easy grab and go.